stuff formatted.
Great day, Mr. McCray, coming your way with another installment of Math Mentoring. On today, we will be looking at how to solve linear inequalities using a graphing calculator. Let's go. So let's begin by looking at 4 types of tasks that we can utilize our graphing calculator in order to solve uh, linear inequality problems. So in task 1, we're going to look at uh, solving two-step linear equations. Two-step linear equations. Okay. And then we're going to transition and then look at solving advanced linear equations to see if there's any pattern that we can use just to keep things simple. All right, let's look at our first question. First type of question. All right, solve for P. All right, -2 minus -P is greater than -3. Well, the first thing that we want to do is get our graphing calculator. Let's reset it. Second plus 712. All right. Calculator is now reset. Now, let's put this equation in our Y editor. Let's notice that we only see one variable. As long as we use one, are only using one variable, this calculator technique will work 100% of the time. When we have 2 variables, then we got to do a little different of a technique. So let's look. In place of P, I'm going to write X. So I'm going to write -2 minus -X is greater than, I hit second math button, and my greater than sign is 3. And then -3. So a lot of negatives happening. So before I hit graph, here's my prediction. Anytime I have a negative in front of my X, it's going to change the direction of my inequality. Now, normally I would expect that because it is negative, this would go from being a greater than to a less than symbol. But I got to remember, a negative times a negative always gives me a positive. So my prediction is that it is going to stay greater than. So let's take a look. I hit graph. All right. And in fact, my rule is that if where it starts and goes to the right is considered my greater than, and my less than is where it starts and ends on the left. All right. So my goal here is just to be able to recognize that this area represents a greater than value. So it's greater than what? By looking at this, it looks like it's a little negative. So I'm assuming this is 0. I'm assuming this is -1. How can I be sure? I'm going to use my second graph button. All right. So I thought it was a little negative. And here it is. The value when X is 0, it's true. When X is -1, it's false. So let's think about this. All right, when X is greater than -1, this value is true. Let me make sure. When x is greater than 0, it is true. So because we don't have a greater than or equal to, I'm going to go with -1 as my solution. Let's put it in here. P is greater than -1. P greater than -1. How do we do? Great job. Okay, let's do it a slightly different one. Okay, clear that out. -3 plus negative x is greater than, second math, we're going to go with the 3 symbol, -5. All right, what am I predicting? Well, here I'm predicting that because there's a negative in front of x, my greater than inequality is going to shift to a less than inequality. Let's take a look. Let's take a graph. Sure enough, it starts on the left and then it terminates right here. So my prediction was that x was going to be less than a positive number. I think that number is +2. Let's double check by hitting second graph. All right, so x is less than, x is less than 1. All right, so when x is less than 1, all of these values are positive. Now let me state that differently. When x is less than 2, all of these values are positive or are true. When x is less than, when x is less than 3, that value is false. When so all of my values that are less than 2 are true. All of my values that are 2 or more are false. So let's write that down. So x is less than symbol, and we agreed less than what? Less than 2. When x is less than 2, my values are correct. Let's check. Oh, Mr. McCrae made a mistake. Let's see what the mistake was. The correct answer is, oh, well, that will do it, guys. Remember, this trick only works if you remember that you got to substitute P in for X. But then when you go to correctly put it into this function, you got to retype P. Okay. All right. All right. So time check. When we come back, we're going to look into the second types of problems: solving advanced linear inequalities using the graphing calculator. All right. Solving advanced linear equations using the graphing calculator. All right.